In this Elite Dangerous 2.2 beta video, we look at what ships can outfit the new fighter bay, examine and compare each of the fighters, as well as hire and activate an NPC pilot. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Elite Dangerous 2.2 beta. In this video, what we want to do is take a look at all of the new fighters that you can put in your new fighter bay in the ship. I'm here at Bigelow Landing in Acilius Primus because you can pretty much get everything you want here in the beta. So the first thing you need to do to use a ship launch fighter is to go into your outfitting and make sure that you have a fighter bay installed in your ship. To do that, you have to add one into the optional internals of your ship. And if we take a look, from what I can tell at this station, which I believe does show you all of the options, you have the option of a 7D, a 6D, and a 5D fighter bay. So you need to have a slot that size in your ship to be able to put one of these in. And as you can see here, the 7D allows you to have two different vehicles in your slot. The 6 also does, and the 5 only allows you to have one vehicle in that slot. Just looking at these hangar bays as well right now, the 7D is 0.35 megawatts of power, 2 vehicle slots, and a 5-second boost time. And it is 60 tons in mass and 120 integrity. And if you look at the 6D, the integrity is down a bit, the mass is down, but other than that, they're identical. So it looks like the only real difference between a 7 and a 6, the 7 has a higher integrity, while the 6 has a lower integrity, it also has a lower mass. So it's something to consider, I guess, when you are building and outfitting these ships. Also, it depends, of course, what slots you have available on your ship. And of course, the 5 also has the reduced vehicle slots. You also, if you go into the crew, and we'll get into the crew section a little bit more later in the video, but if you go into the crew section, it lists right here what ships is actually able to install one of these fighter bays and outfitting. So you have the Anaconda, the Beluga liner, the Federal Corvette, the Federal gunship, the Imperial cutter, the Neelback, and the Type 9 Heavy. Those are the only ships that are capable of actually installing one of these, and then of course you still need the right size. All right, so once you have a ship that's capable of installing one of these, and you've installed the appropriate size that you want in your ship, the next choice you have is what fighters do you want to bring out with you. So if I take a look in here, you can see that there's the Imperial style, so there's the Aegis fighter, then there is the Condor fighter, so the Aegis is the Imperial one, the Condor is the Federal one, and then there's the Taipan, which is the Alliance fighter. And you've got a bunch of different types of loadouts available to you, both in a fixed and a gimbaled variety. In the Imperial fighter, it looks like you have 3 fixed variants and 2 gimbaled. So this one has 2 fixed pulse and a point defense. This one has 2 fixed plasma and chaff. And this last fixed one has 2 fixed beam and a heat sink. Then in the gimbaled variety, you have 2 gimbaled beam and a heat sink, and 2 gimbaled pulse and chaff. As far as the rest of the stats go, it doesn't look like many of them are changing at all except for the DPS, which of course is the damage per second, which is dependent on the type of weapon loadout and whether they're fixed or gimbaled as to how that's going to stack up. Then in the Federal Condor category, what we have is, once again, 3 fixed variants and 2 gimbaled. And they're going to be quite similar, I imagine. So we have 2 fixed pulse and a heat sink, 2 fixed plasma and a point defense, 2 fixed multi-cannon and a chaff. And then in the gimbaled category, we have 2 gimbaled beam and a heat sink, 2 gimbaled pulse and a chaff. And once again, the only real difference that we can see between the same fighter category is the damage per second that they have. And then lastly, but not least, we have the Taipan, which again has the 3 fixed and the 2 gimbaled, 2 fixed pulse, point defense, 2 fixed plasma, chaff, 2 fixed beam, heat sink, 2 gimbaled beam and heat sink, and 2 gimbaled pulse and chaff. Now let's take a look at each fighter and see how they compare to each other. The Imperial fighter has the least amount of armor health in the 3 classes, with only 15. The Condor has 25 base armor health, and the Taipan has a base 35 in armor health. The Taipan is the strongest in armor, and the Imperial fighter is the weakest. In shields, the Imperial fighter has the lowest shields of 15, and the Taipan has 20 shield health, while the Condor has 25 shield health. So the Condor has the best shields. When it comes to max speed, the Condor has a max speed of 316, the Imperial fighter has a max speed of 312, and the Taipan has a max speed of 240, which is significantly slower than the rest. Then we move on to boost speed. The Imperial has a maximum boost speed of 540, with the Condor coming in at 536. So they swap roles there, and the Taipan coming in at 496. So again, considerably less than the rest. And then the last stat I'm going to compare here, because we were looking at the DPS before, and that's more based on the weapons that you choose and not the ship. But the pitch rate of these ships, it looks like the Imperial Fighter is by far the best maneuvering ship with a 78 pitch rate, the Condor with a 53 pitch rate, and the Taipan with a 36 pitch rate. So there's all the different stats, and based on what your flying style is and what you like to do with a fighter ultimately, and I would suggest like trying them all out and seeing how they maneuver and how they work for you, and the the loadouts and the fix and the gimbal and all that kind of stuff. So currently I have a Imperial Fighter of the gimbaled variety with the pulse lasers installed, as well as a Condor with the gimbaled beam lasers. But before we head out and actually try these things, we have to go into the crew lounge. I've already gone out and hired Malek as one of my NPC crews. Now you can have up to 3 inactive crew members here in your slots. One thing that I've learned through reading the forums is that the cost of these NPC crew actually stack, and they stack whether they are out with you or not. And I could be wrong on that, and if I am, definitely let me know. So if you went and hired, say 3 experts, as you can see down here, they all have a different rate that they will take cut from your profit line when you turn in missions and all that kind of stuff. A harmless pilot will take 2% profit share, a mostly harmless will take 4%, a novice 6%, a competent 9%, and an expert 12%. So if you hire 3 expert pilots and have them all in your crew, then they will be taking a 36% cut on the profit that you make when you go out and do missions and turn in bounties and things of that nature. That's my understanding at this point of how they work. So to hire yourself a crew member, all you do is you head down here and you find the appropriate person that you want to hire and select them and then hire them. I'm not going to do that because I've already got one. The other thing to consider with these, right, is obviously the lower level guys will cost you a lot less, but their skill, their AI skill, is also not going to be as comparable. The higher up that they are in their rank, the better they'll be in controlling either your own mothership or in controlling the fighter that you send out. One thing to note too, though, is that you can rank these guys up. So you can choose to hire a harmless pilot, and then through every kill that they make, whether that be on your mothership or in a fighter, they will start to rank up. And I believe they rank up at a much accelerated rate as you do in the game. Because they are likely to die is my understanding of why that is the case. So if you look at this person here, you'll see that they're already at 0.2% to rank up to the next level. And that is because I've gone out with Meltech in the past and got into a little bit of a battle. They have a backstory, so if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you can definitely read their backstory and decide who you want to hire based on that. But once you have hired somebody, you need to come in and set them as active, or else they will not be on your ship when you head out. So I have just made Malek active. Now I'm ready to head out. I've got my fighter bay. I've installed my fighters. I have hired and activated a crew member with me. I can head out into the black and try out these ship-launched fighters. So I'll be back shortly with another video where we take all 3 of these ship-launched fighters out into active combat and see how they perform. But until then, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. It lets me know that you want to see more Elite Dangerous 2.2 beta videos and helps to expose the video to more awesome people just like you. If you're new to my channel and want to be notified when I release new videos or go live, don't forget to subscribe. My active series at the moment, of course, includes Elite Dangerous, as well as XCOM 2, Pulsar the Lost Colony, and Space Engineers. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Have an absolute great one, and I'll see you all next time.